Up everyone, hope you're having a good week. Gonna go on my phone and just check audio levels real quick, make sure we're good, because sometimes my stuff gets a little bit hairy. I just want to make sure it all sounds good, so give me just a second while I check it. Got some really good topics today I wanted to talk about, so I'm excited about that. If you are with us, either Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and leave in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. If you are with us, I think our audio levels are good. Let's see here. Let me mute that. But I want to be able to set this up so I can see anybody that's chatting. I hope you guys are having an awesome Thursday. So thankful that you're joining us today. I wanted to talk about a few different things. First one's being, hey, should you opt out of the child tax credit? That's kind of coming up. I think the deadline is the end of the month, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. There's some things to consider there. You're automatically opted in. A lot of people don't know that, but they're automatically opted in, and you have to go and opt yourself out if you don't want it. So that's what we need to talk about, whether you should or whether you shouldn't do that, because if you got kiddos, it sounds like a really good deal, but there is a catch. So I wanted to make sure that you are aware of the catch. Let me go ahead and get this pulled up just so I can see YouTube chat also. They don't make this easy for me to be able to see chat while I'm streaming. I can do it for one, but to see it for both Facebook and YouTube at the same time is actually a pain. So let's see here. I know I'm live. There we go. Let me pull up chat. There's a way around it, but I always have to go live first, which is a pain. Okay, there we go. Very cool, very cool, very cool. All right. So first, I want to talk about this child tax credit. I think this is really important because the deadline is coming up. I'm going to go over some things about it that needs to be considered. It's probably the best article I've found on it. It's on U.S. News. U.S. News has been pretty solid for me for the most part. They do a good job of making it not confusing, which I think it's easy for it to be confusing. This child tax credit thing. So again, if you're joining me live, let me know in the chat where you're watching from. Also, if you don't mind, hit me with a thumbs up. And always, if you're watching on YouTube, hit me a thumbs up. Hit me a thumbs up on Facebook. That helps boost the algorithm a little bit so that we can talk to some more people and hopefully help some more people with making some financial decisions, positive financial decisions. So guys, if you're used to live, what I do is I normally just go talk about these different subjects as if they're different videos, because a lot of people don't watch the live. So what I do is I record them as if I'm recording episodes. I go back through and essentially snip out these parts and make them their own individual videos. So that way it's easier to find. So just kind of, again, if you're watching this, let me know in the comments or in the chat. Go ahead, and if you're watching on your phone, get out of the chat, go hit the thumbs up for me again if you don't mind. Again, that just helps me out, helps boost it. So we're gonna jump right in. Should you, if you have a kiddo, opt out of the child tax credit? So I'm gonna hop into it. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Rick. I'm a financial coach and the owner of the Debt Free Mafia, here to help you be smarter with your finances, live debt-free, and leave a legacy to your children's children. I'm so glad you stopped by today. Today we're going to talk about, hey, should you opt out of that child tax credit that's coming up? And that's a really good question. So there's it seems like a really good thing, right? It's typical politics, right? They put this really fancy, awesome name on it that sounds like it's there to help you when underneath there's some things that aren't clarified, right? So this thing is called the American Rescue Plan. So it sounds like, yes, they're going to come and rescue us, right? After we've been through this pandemic and had some economical issues and stuff, that they're here to rescue us. So I kind of want to talk about why you probably want to opt out in certain scenarios and why you could take it in other scenarios. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I found an article that was probably the clearest when explaining it. I looked at several articles as I was studying it. This is probably the best one. So it's by US News. I'm going to share my screen with you and we're going to kind of go through it. I'm just going to talk about through what they're saying and kind of explain it just a little bit. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. What's up, Zach Jones? How's it going, man? So we got here, let me see, make sure you can see that. You can see it pretty good, I think. So we're going to start off with this. So there's kind of this question like, hey, should you opt out or not? Reason being is there's some people that are. So essentially what this is coming down to is normally, without the American Rescue Plan, the government typically provides a $2,000 credit towards children. But with this American Rescue Plan, it's going to be $3,000 for children's ages 16 to 17 and $3,600 for any kiddos under 6. So that's kind of like, you can have an idea of what you're going to qualify for what children. So you get a tax credit for each child that you have, right? So if you have 2 kiddos, say they're 11 years old, you got twins, that would be $6,000 in tax credit that you would be getting on your taxes. However, what they're doing with this American Rescue Plan is they're essentially going to offer it as an advance. So if you're not familiar with what an advance is, I'm familiar with it because I've got a music background, but essentially what an advance is what they're going to do is they're going to pay you up front for it, and then on the back end you'll find out whether or not they paid you too much. So there's instances where you could potentially not qualify for these or qualify wholly for these numbers that they've given you in the American Rescue Plan. If that happens, guess what? You got to pay it back. So that's why I've been cautioning a lot of my clients, hey, let's be careful on this, because I don't want you to be taking money that you haven't officially, quote unquote, earned. Granted, it's part of taxes, right? But what I don't like advances because you never earned it. You're getting money up front. It's essentially a loan. It's a loan almost, and it doesn't have interest or anything like that. What I'm cautioning people on is, hey, what they're going to do. So let me explain. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this advance is not going to be like, hey, they're going to pay you, $3,000 or $3,600 up front. What they're going to do is they're going to start sending you checks for $300 every month up until next year, until your credit's fulfilled or whatever. So why I've been cautioning people is be careful with that, because there's a chance that you could not qualify depending on your taxes from last year. So they'll be giving you your advance not knowing what your taxes or what your income was this year. So there's always a chance that if you were to switch income tax brackets, there's a chance that you could owe more in taxes, therefore not qualify for certain parts of this American Rescue Plan, and therefore have to pay it back. So I always really caution people, hey, be careful with this, because there's a chance that you could end up owing in the long run. So the thing that I think is really crazy to me, and this is kind of how to get around it, but the thing that's crazy to me is you're automatically opted into this advance. You're automatically opted into this advance because of the American Rescue Plan. So, and a lot of people don't realize this, so they're going to start getting payments for stuff that they didn't understand. Some people know about this, some don't. Also, another thing I should note is if you had a child this year, which we did, but if you had a child this year, you won't get the advancements for that child. The only way you can get the advancements for that child is going to the tax portal and essentially registering them and saying, here, I have a child this year, I want the advancements this year. Again, I'm cautioning people against that just because I would rather you get to your taxes next year and find out you got a big credit waiting on yourself than get to your taxes next year and realize you owe more on your taxes because you didn't qualify fully for the child tax credit. So again, normally it's $2,000, but that $2,000 just comes as essentially a write-off on your taxes. But The way they're doing it this year is to try to get some money in people's pockets sooner. However, again, I'll tell you again, there's a chance that you might not qualify, and you know how the IRS works. They want you to calculate on your own how much money you owe them without telling you, and then eventually they say, oh yeah, you didn't pay us enough, or oh yeah, you paid us too much. You're like, well, why couldn't you just tell me the number in the first place, you know? So anyways, that's why I want most people to be cautious about that. So let's say, hey, I don't like to count my chickens before they hatch. I am going to want to opt out. So the way you're going to go to opt out, I'll scroll down here. I'm also going to link this video. Sorry, I'm going to link this article in the video, so that way you can go and check it out yourself. In that way you can kind of read through it and what stipulations might apply to you personally on your situation, because everybody's a little bit different. But I wanted to kind of talk about this. So if you want to opt out, you have to make the request through the IRS Child Tax Credit Update portal. That's a mouthful. But yeah, that's where you're going to want to go. I'll bring this up. This is what it looks like, Child Tax Update portal. So I want you to go through this, and I think you have to go down here to manage advanced payments, right? So you have to go there and say, I don't want these. If you don't want them. Again, you can risk it if you want to. Most people aren't going to have issues with the advanced payments. A lot of people like the idea of getting the money sooner so that they can start investing it or paying off bills that have racked up over coronavirus. I get it. If you're good with your money and you feel like you're in a good spot, you know, that's something you might be able to risk, especially if you've got an emergency fund. But the last thing I want my clients who have small emergency funds or no emergency funds is for them to get stuck with a giant bill all of a sudden, because owing money to the IRS is not fun. So this is where you go to change it. I can also link this in the bottom of the video. It'll be down there for you, so that if you want to just go straight there, go ahead and check it out. And that way you can go and either opt out, or if you want to stay in, you don't have to do anything. You automatically be there. They're going to go off of either 2019's tax returns or 2020 if you haven't filed, or sorry, 2019 if you haven't filed yet, 2020 if you have filed. So that's kind of what they're going to be going off and basing this payment off of. Again, I will link this below so that you guys have a chance to kind of go through and get an idea of what qualifies you. So let me know kind of in the comments below, do you plan on opting out or do you plan on staying? What are your thoughts on this this advancement, which is something that they're doing that's kind of new? Again, it's to try to help with corona relief. However, I think unfortunately it's going to burn some people in the long run. So let me know what you think there. I'd love it. Guys, if you are down with the debt-free vibe, be sure to hit subscribe. We talk about debt-free living. We talk about making smart decisions with our money, and above everything else, we talk about having good behavior with our money. So can't encourage you to do that enough. Guys, I appreciate you so much for stopping by. Guys, again, thank you. Peace. Man, there's a gnat trying to attack me and the lens, so I don't know if you guys could see that thing fly around, but yeah, that's that thing's kind of crazy that you automatically get opted in for an advance. I don't really agree with that. I don't agree with that. I'm not gonna say not really. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's fair. So yeah, that's kind of what I've the basic 30,000 foot view of what the tax credit looks like. I'm not a tax professional, I will totally note that, but I kind of talked to my accountant a little bit about it and did a bunch of research to figure out, hey, is it smart to do that? So I need that dog tax credit. Yeah, I know, little dog children, and dogs are expensive, man. They can be. It's funny because there's like a trend on TikTok now that I've seen where it's like, well, they'll have like, you know, the designer dog, the dog that they paid $5,000 for, and it's like, oh, I'm allergic to water. And then they'll have like the mutt that they picked up from the pound that's like, I'm invincible to everything. And I feel like it's true. We did get a designer cat. She's a Bengal, but she came free to us, so I was all about it. She was just really weird, and she's way cooler now, but she used to be really weird. And I ended up stepping on her leg and breaking it once, and it was a like $1,200 thing to fix. And I was like, man, I just got my free designer cat for $1,200 essentially. So that was fun. Next video, kind of want to talk about a little bit of online banking, because these new neobanks are becoming more popular. Specifically, we're going to talk about Chime, and some really sketchy stuff that's been going on there. So guys, again, thanks for joining. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, be sure to hit the thumbs up for me. I know it's so annoying when YouTubers and people who make content ask stuff like that, but literally they're desperate to be seen on the recommended page, and thumbs up and subscriptions and interactivity are what gets you there. So plus I like it knowing that this is actually valuable stuff. Kind of reminds me of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So again, appreciate that. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the second video real quick. I'm gonna talk about online banking, why it's iffy. So I'm gonna do my intro. What's up, guys? Hey, my name is Rick. I'm a financial coach and the owner of the Debt Free Mafia. I'm so glad that you stopped by. Wanted to talk today about online banking and why you need to be a little bit hesitant before you just sign right up, or if you're using it, why you should be cautious and potentially consider using a brick and mortar bank. So guys, real quick, if this is something that you find valuable or interesting, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button. We talk about debt-free living, we talk about leaving a legacy for our children's children, we talk about being wise with our finances. We live that lifestyle here, so you're welcome here. We'd love to have you a part of the Mafia. Again, hit subscribe. Also, if you don't mind, hitting the thumbs up helps me out a whole lot. So let's talk about it. Neobanks. What is a neobank? So if you don't know what a neobank is essentially a bank that exists that doesn't have a physical location. So it's all online. It's all, you access your money through there. I believe if you wanted to get like cash out or something like that, you can go to another bank that they might be sponsored with or have a partnership with and withdraw it. And I have had customers that have been interested in Chime. So a recent article from ProPublica has come up, and it's kind of talking about, you know, what you should really be cautious about, especially with Chime, because Chime has had some really sketchy stuff here lately. So let's kind of talk about that. We'll dive right into it. Again, I just appreciate you for stopping by. So I hope this is helpful. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you and we can talk about it. So okay, so this is Chime Bank. So let's talk about it. What is the issue with Chime? So Chime is a neobank. Again, a neobank is something that is really easy to set up. It's very convenient. Also is very attractive to low-income people. Reason being is because they usually don't have minimum balance fees. They don't have overdraw fees. They typically have a lot of really cool features that a normal bank doesn't have. However, there's some issues, and we're going to kind of dive into that. So the reason I want to talk about this is because it's a growing interest. I think this particular bank, the Chime Bank, it serves 12 million people, I think. Sorry, I wanted to pull up some notes. But serves 12 million customers. What's really crazy, and we'll talk specifically about Chime, is since April 2020, they've received 920 complaints that have been filed with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, who essentially is in charge in the government to make sure that banks are acting fairly, right? So the funny thing is I was reading this actually on Reddit, and Reddit was talking about how it's actually quite a few more complaints than Wells Fargo, which usually is the leader in banking complaints. And if you keep up with the news, you kind of have a good idea why they do that, because they've had some really sketchy stuff themselves. So anyways, let's kind of talk about this. I want to talk about they've had, in this article, I'll link this one below, they have several examples of actual people who had just horrible experiences with it. But essentially what has happened and what's become a problem is they have put their money in these online banks, and the bank will all of a sudden flag it for fraud and shut the bank account down, essentially freezing it. And I don't know if you guys have ever had your bank accounts frozen. I have, because I went through bankruptcy. But if you've ever had your bank accounts ever frozen, it makes life super difficult because you cannot do anything. You literally are stuck. You can't withdraw money. You can't use your debit card. Your money can't be moved. So anyways, I kind of wanted to talk about this just a little bit. This story kind of talks about just his experience and how embarrassing it was for him, and then kind of goes to talk about how many complaints they've got. It says 197 of these 920 complaints involved a closed account. that which is just nuts to me that they automatically close the account without even consulting with the customer. And a big reason is, hey, why are they closing these accounts? Well, a big part of it is because they've had issues with people essentially committing fraud with unemployment. So it says down here, fraud obtained unemployment insurance or federal stimulus payments. So it's essentially like people are trying to collect extra stimulus payments or unemployment or partake in unemployment fraud. So that's a big part of it. I also thought this was interesting. I know something's going wrong if it as a Facebook group. So it's funny because there's just several Facebook groups that have popped up here lately just absolutely bashing Chime. Obviously people are starting to come together to talk about it. It's becoming an issue. A lot of people have had issues because they didn't have a bank account and they wanted to get their stimulus check faster. So they created these Chime accounts because you can make a Chime bank account super easy, and that way you can have your money automatic deposited and not have to wait on a check. So a lot of people did this. And then unfortunately a lot of people got stuck. Like this, it says, I'm a single mom with 4 kids. They stole $1,400 from me and refused to get it back. And they're about to be evicted, right? It's a really sad story. And the thing is the thing that really bothers me as a financial coach is you don't have the ability to go down to the store and talk to the manager. You're stuck behind the email wall, right? Which is, we all know if you've gotten stuck behind the email wall, which feels impossible, because you don't even know if this is a real person or not. So, anyways, kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about, why these things are getting shut down, right? So again, people were using it for, there was some fraud going on. However, Chime does not have a good fraudulent detection. I don't know if you call it section of the business or department, right? They just kind of are just really loose with marking people as frauds. And trying to, I'm sure they've gotten some pressure from the government, or else they probably wouldn't be doing this. However, it just seems like they didn't have very good of a comb to be able to comb through to get it. So I kind of want to talk about this also. Is talking about why Chime was appealing at first, and it was like because it only takes a few minutes. Services welcome customers with spotty credit histories. It doesn't require a credit check, has no monthly fees, keeps other changes to a minimum. If you don't know what that all adds up to, is it says that their target audience is low income. Right, and unfortunately, a lot of banks who target low income typically tend to be predatory. A lot of them, you want a bank that is helpful and wants to help people, but at the end of the day, a lot of banks, majority of banks, they want to make their interest on stuff, and they want to make money at the end of the day and not necessarily help people. So again, it talks about for customers who sign up for direct deposit, Chime offers 2-day interest fee advances on paychecks. Again, advances typically have a track record of targeting low income. Again, the bank's best interest is usually at heart in these scenarios. I don't know what the terms were on the advances, but I'm sure it's just knowing how they've behaved already is probably unfair. Again, I've never used Chime personally. If you have used Chime in the comments, so I am genuinely curious. If you've used Chime, let me know. What was your experience like? Also, I'm curious if you've ever used a neobank. If you've used a neobank, let me know what that's like. Essentially just an online-only bank. Let me know, because I really am curious. So I know that they're really active on social media. This even kind of talks about it. I've seen memes from them. They're growing really fast because, again, it's just really easy. Typically things that are easy to sign up and online and that target low income typically have pretty rapid growth at the beginning. But kind of another big deal that I wanted to talk about when it comes to Chime and neobanks is they're technically, by regulation, not a bank. So this is where I really tell people to pump the brakes whenever you're signing up for a neobank, right? Chime is not a bank, and it's left in a no man's land when it comes to regulation. This is according to Alex Horowitz, Senior Research Officer for the Consumer Financial Project, Q Charitable Trust. There's actually this article goes on to talk about how California and the state of Illinois both filed complaints about Chime's system that prevented customers from accessing accounts left unable to pay their bills. And it went down to where they eventually had a ruling. They had a ruling where they weren't allowed to call themselves a bank anymore. So, and it's funny because this article has this great little ad right here. This is a screenshot from their website, and it says, "Banking that has your back. Free overdraft up to $200. Get paid 2 days early with direct deposit. Build credit history with no interest or annual fee with Credit Builder. Grow your savings." Right? See, it sounds a lot like a bank, right? But if you come down here to the fine print, Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services are provided by Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank. So essentially, they play middleman, even though they'll hold on to a lot of your money. So I thought that was really interesting. Again, I am curious. What are your thoughts? This has some more. This has some more stories of some folks that essentially got screwed from Chime. So let me know, what are your thoughts on neobanking, online banking? Again, if you've used them, let me know what it was like. I'm just curious. I know some people have had good experiences with it. I'm just curious. This kind of goes on again that they really are generic whenever people are filing complaints and asking, hey, what's the deal with my account? A lot of just really red flags for me. This is not a service that I would recommend to any of my clients just because it's so sketchy. And again, there's been so many difficult experiences with it so far. So guys, I'm just so thankful that you stopped by. I hope that this was helpful. Again, if you have used Chime Bank or any other neobanks, let me know in the comments because I am curious. Also, if you don't mind, if this is the kind of stuff you like to see, if you'd like to see more content on the debt-free lifestyle, what it's like to pay off debt, debt-free mindset, that's kind of all stuff that we talk about here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We'd love for you to be a part of the mafia. Hit the like button if you don't mind. I really appreciate that, guys. I will catch you in the next one. Peace. All right, very cool. Not familiar with Chime, but hey, I had nothing but positive experience with banking online with Ally. I've heard some good things about Ally. Again, I think the thing that just really sketches me out is, hey, if there is an issue, you get stuck behind that email wall, and when it's, what does JG Wentworth say? It's my money and I need it now. Don't use JG Wentworth, for the record. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk about, and this is, I don't think it's going to be a very long video. Let's see here. I want to make sure I have this pulled up. I didn't move from West Virginia to Georgia. Start low. We had an issue moving from West Virginia to Georgia with our local bank at the time. Ended up switching to Ally 2012. Some of those smaller ones. Yeah, man, it's unfortunate because usually when you have a business of some sort that targets low income, it's usually because they come in and play bully, which is really unfortunate, right? Okay. Let's see here. Let me pull this up real quick. I'm gonna jump into my last video. And Monkey, is that you? Are you Zach Jones? I don't know your government name. I know your Discord name. Let's see here. I'm about to kill this gnat though. In that last video, it was like causing me to lose focus with my eyes because I was like watching it. Okay. Alright, let's hop into this. Monkey. Dude, thanks for coming. I'm gonna try to go live hopefully Wednesdays or Thursdays every week. That's my goal. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. Thursdays seem like a good spot. So I'm gonna jump into this last video and we'll call it good for the day. What's up, guys? Hey, this is Rick. I'm a financial coach. I'm the owner of Debt Free Mafia. And again, I'm so thankful that you stopped by to check out this video. Today, we wanted to talk about why right now is such a good time to start your emergency fund if you don't have one. I want to talk about that and why it's important to get that going as soon as possible. So, guys, if you are new to the Debt Free Mafia, if you want to be a part of the Mafia, we'd love to have you. Go ahead and hit subscribe. If you're into debt-free lifestyle, if you're into leaving a legacy to your children's children, if you like the mindset of being debt-free, go ahead and join us. Hit subscribe, hit the like button. We'd love to have you here. But I wanted to jump into this. Why is right now such a good time to start your emergency fund? We talked about not too long ago how there is an impending economic crash coming. Some say it's going to happen tomorrow. Some say it's going to happen 3 years from now, maybe even 5 years from now. There's no telling, really. The market always does go up and down. However, it seems to be at an accelerated rate right now because of inflation. We'll wait and see what happens. However, my goal is not to worry about that. My goal is to help you out and help you get prepared for that. So one of the best ways to get prepared for an economic crash is to have an emergency fund. In the 2008 housing crisis, I think unemployment peaked at about, I think it was around 16%, so it more than doubled what it normally is during that time. A lot of people are saying that this next recession could be worse because of inflation being so high right now. Unemployment could be as high as 30-something%, which is nuts. And I think that would be a very, very long road to recovery at that point. However, one thing that we really want to focus on is what you need to do to prepare, and that is the emergency fund is one of the best ways. I have a whole nother video that talks about different things you could be doing besides just an emergency fund. I want to talk about specifically why the emergency fund is great to start on today. Today is, July 8th, 2021. So emergency fund's always going to be important, but I wanted to talk about specifically today why it's important. One of the biggest causes to poverty, or maybe not even poverty, but the biggest hindrances to wealth for millennials, and it's going to be the same for Gen Z, is student loan debt. It's just been an absolutely crusher to all millennials. Millennials only have half the wealth that baby boomers had at the same exact age as us. And if you look at the data, if you go back to 1989, which is about the same time that the average boomer was our age right now, they literally had twice the wealth when looking at the entire economy. When it was in 1989, they had twice the wealth millennials have, or twice the share of wealth in America that millennials had right now. Sorry, I had such a hard time explaining that. But essentially, we're way behind. And the number one culprit, according to all the research on that, was student loans. College is way more expensive in proportion now than what it was even 10 years ago, and especially 20 years ago. Also, the average salary coming out of college has really, really started to level off, especially in the last 20 years, right? So you're really not getting the bang for buck that you were getting. And a lot of us felt pressured into going to college because it was the only way to get a good job, right? There was that mentality, and it comes from a generation that really, really benefited from college. So when your parents say that college is important, that's true. It was very important for them. And I'm not sitting here bashing college because, for example, my sister-in-law is a physician assistant. I get in trouble for saying that wrong. Or actually, I think that she's changed titles now. But anyways, she had to go to school, right? I want my medical professionals and my engineers and financial professionals like CPAs. I want them to go through school, right? I'm super happy that they went through school and had a college degree. However, I went to school and got a business degree, and my marketing professor was 80 years old and taught methods from the 60s, which had zero relevance to how marketing is done now. If I could go back, I would tell that whole school we need to focus on how to do ads, Facebook ads, how to properly negotiate The fact that I left business school and nobody taught you how to negotiate a salary is absolutely mind-boggling, right? I just didn't feel prepared for life. I felt like there was some good tidbits in there, and I got the general idea of what I should be doing in business and like a profit and loss statement. That was all good. However, I think all in all, luckily I had a scholarship that paid for all my tuition. But at the end of the day, I was like, man, I don't think this was worth $40,000. I've learned a lot more from a handful of books than I ever did college. So, and I'm not trying to bash college. I'm just saying it's not worth the cost in a lot of cases, like it used to be. And it's really prominent now with how far behind millennials are. And so you're probably saying, how does this all relate to emergency fund? Well, emergency funds are in deferment through the end of September, I believe. I have federal student aid. It says, yeah, so there's 0% interest rate through September 30th. So starting in October, we're going to have to start paying our student loans with interest, right? So I'm saying, if you do not have that emergency fund set up for yourself, again, what I recommend is $1,000 to $2,000 to start off. And I'm okay if you want to wait until these student loans kick in. I want you to be paying on your other loans, obviously, but I'm okay if you wanted to wait till these student loans kick in to continue padding up that emergency fund. My goals, what I usually tell most people, is 3 to 6 months, which is pretty standard. Most people see that fair. I would say 3 months if you're in a really secure job industry, like say teacher, nurse. What are some other good ones? Like if you're like a plumber, just if you're like in a really steady market and your job doesn't see a whole lot of fluctuation. However, I live in the oil field, and anybody that I work with as a client who is in the oil field, I always tell them, hey, let's go 6 months. I know that it's going to stink because you're going to have to save up longer. However, when you get laid off, which is kind of a mentality around here, it's not if you get laid off here in the oil field, it's when you get laid off. That 6 months emergency fund is really going to pay off. So right now is a really good time to kind of pad that while we wait on these student loans to kick back in. And as soon as they kick back in again here at the Debt Free Mafia, we're going to get aggressive with those and pay them off smallest to largest. So guys, that's really why I'm just encouraging you with these 0% interest on these student loans. Let's pad that emergency fund. Again, with our potential economic bust coming, it would be better for you to have that money stashed aside and then not. Best case scenario, that the economic crash does come and it's not that big of a deal, right? It's not as massive as 2008. I'd like to be an optimist there. I'm hoping for that. But again, at the same time, I want to prepare for the worst, hope for the best, right? And you've probably heard that. But let me know below. Are you a fan of emergency funds? Do you have your emergency fund funded? Do you have student loans that you're taking advantage of the 0% interest rate on right now? Let me know. I'd love to kind of talk with you about that, or just at least exchange a little bit of chat with you, just because I'm curious. Also, again, if you're not part of the Debt Free Mafia, I'd love for you to be a part of it. Hit subscribe. Love for you to be here. We're building an awesome community here, slowly but surely. But everybody that's here has been awesome. Again, if you don't mind hitting the like button, this helps me get put over in that recommended video section that's on your right. That really helps me out because I really want to grow this channel and grow this community to be helpful. If you didn't know, we're going to do a t-shirt giveaway once we hit 100 subscribers. So if you don't mind, share this video with some folks. Tell them to go subscribe. That way we can get to that 100 subscribers and I can do that video. We'll do a video, t-shirt giveaway on a video. That'll be upcoming once we hit 100 subscribers. So thankful for you guys again. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later. Peace. Awesome. Physician associate is the new term. Yeah, you're right, monkey. Yeah, so she told me I'm not, and also you can't say physicians, you have to say physician. So physician associate, which is kind of, I get it because physician assistant sounds like, oh, you're the person that hands the doctor tools, when it's not at all the case. My sister-in-law is like extremely smart, and I have to like hold back from not asking her medical questions all the time. So but emergency funds are a must. I think equally important is an accurate budget that allows you to understand where your monthly expenses truly are. Yeah, and I think you're exactly right, monkey, because most people don't know where their funds are going. And man, time and time again, when I sit down with a client and we go through their budget, like in the first meeting, what I usually do is ask them, hey, how much do you budget for this? How much do you budget for this? Because I have this really extensive budget that I use. And they'll be like, okay, and then I don't show them what the bottom line is because I already have their income plugged in, and then we do all their expenses, and man, it's like almost every time I'll go down to the bottom after the meeting, and they'll be like short like $1,500 a month, and I was like, yeah, this is where that stress is coming from. So, but in the second meetings where I like make up all these, or I go through and say, hey, we got to stop spending $600 a month on eating out or using DoorDash. I mean, imagine who uses DoorDash that much, but yeah. Man, that's awesome. Monkey, thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate you. And anybody else who stopped by, I'm so thankful for you guys. But yeah, it's going to kind of do it for this week. I'll get these videos posted if you want to go back and rewatch them. Guys, you're awesome. We'll talk to you later. Peace.